The way to look at NFTs in the sports, esports, and to a certain degree the music world is to conceptualize it the same way that we do with players' cards. We're taking a digitized version of a still, being the image itself, and minting it, as we call it, which is taking this product and turning it into a digital asset. Or we can also do the same with video, and then we're selling it into the marketplace. And the sale itself is being hosted on our blockchain platform.
John Dwyer joins me now, Chairman and CEO of Wondr Gaming, trading on the CSE under the symbol WDR. John, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you back. It's been over, I'm going to say almost a year and a half since I last talked to you about Wondr Gaming in Toronto, pre-pandemic for sure. Eager to hear about what's new with Wondr Gaming and how far you've come. But for our audience who is new to Wondr Gaming, what is the business of Wondr Gaming?
Well, it's good to see you as well, and nobody enjoys the coronavirus and all of the awful outcomes that it has, created. But it has been very good for the video game industry, and Wondr Gaming and a number of other companies in the space have been thriving, just by virtue of the fact that folks are at home, and this constituency of gamers, which formerly was seen as just being a bunch of kids in the basement playing video games, has now grown to a giant demographic. As my business partner Mike Cotton says, the two realities of video games that folks don't know is that the constituency of gamers is much older than you'd think, and there are far more females playing than you'd think. We're now entering into a stat where there's over 45% of the global gaming community is actually female, which is absolutely fantastic. So at Wondr Gaming, we're critically focused on the media side of the video game industry. We monetize by hosting creative content campaigns. We recently did a partnership with Reddit, one of the first, if not the first they've done here in Canada, which we're really excited about. We've done a lot of work with Twitch and are continuing to. We got some great news on the horizon there. And we host and create creative content campaigns where we take athletes. We've worked with Chris Boucher. We just signed Fred Van Vliet. We've got about 12 announcements that are going to be coming over the balance of the summer. And we host these campaigns on Twitch and Reddit. And throughout this process, we're creating new content on the daily, whereby we're capturing NFTs, which is really exciting. It's a new space. We're the only publicly traded company in North America with a fully built out white labeled NFT platform. And we're also launching the first comprehensive loyalty and rewards platform called gamingrewards.com for the esports industry. So we critically monetize by virtue of working with large multinational non-endemic brands, telcos, banks, insurance companies, bring them in to the fold of where we're creating these creative content campaigns and liaise them with the over 2 billion people that are gaming each day across the planet. And then secondary, we drive revenue through the creation and sale of NFTs on our NFT platform, memestation.com. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, as I mentioned, is the launch of our loyalty and rewards platform, which is coming out throughout the balance of Q3.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's quite the mix of stuff. Tell me about NFTs. NFT, we know, stands for non-fungible token. We've seen it associated with original works of digital art, but you got a different application for NFTs. Tell us about how that generates income and what is your version of an NFT?
Yeah, the best way to look at an NFT is it's an alternative asset class. I know a lot of people think that there's voodoo involved and it's something that they just can't wrap their heads around. It's the simplest way to conceptualize an NFT is when we were kids and we went to the playground, we had a Tom Brady rookie card, or many, many years ago, a Lou Gehrig rookie card, or Joe DiMaggio, whatever it may be. And that was an incredibly important piece of nostalgia associated with the sport. The way to look at NFTs in the sports, esports, and to a certain degree the music world is to conceptualize it the same way that we do with players' cards. We're taking a digitized version of a still, being the image itself, and minting it, as we call it, which is taking this product and turning it into a digital asset. Or we can also do the same with video, and then we're selling it into the marketplace. And the sale itself is being hosted on our blockchain platform. So the whole concept here is about provenance. So it's where ownership resides, which is really at the crux of where we're seeing all these advances of moving towards blockchain. So all of the same concepts that you'll see in other industries can be witnessed in the NFT space, especially with what we're doing. So, working with a number of different athletes, professional sports teams. We're making a big announcement shortly around a very large international rock band that we're going to be creating an NFT for their entire catalog of videos and photos. And those will all be for sale on our platform, memestation.com.
So then is an NFT then, like I think of the example, and I haven't really got a good answer from anybody. I'm hoping you can. So Martin Shkreli, the guy who was reviled for raising the price of some life-saving drugs in the U.S. in his biotech firms, and I think he's now in jail, but he had purchased the only copy of a Wu-Tang Clan album for, I think it was $100,000 or more. And he's the only guy who can listen to it, and he's the only guy who owns it, and there are no copies to own. Is that essentially what an NFT is like?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very unique example where you have a one of one. NFTs don't have to simply live in the environment of a one of one. You can create a one of 10, a one of 50. That's where we start to draw comparisons to the art world. And so the same way, and this also lends itself to valuation, right? At the end of the day, an NFT is worth what the market will bear. And the same can be said for a lot of very unique and interesting assets that have stood the test of time. We critically believe that NFTs are an alternative asset class, but it's not just these unique opportunities. As always with the media, sensationalism lends itself to only looking at these big, large monster deals. So it's, there was a 15-second meme that was on YouTube called Charlie Bit My Finger. It's a little kid in England, and he bites his brother's finger. Yeah. Sold for, I think it's sold for about 675,000 euros. So that's fantastic. Great. It gets more eyes on the story, but that is the kind of more sensational version of NFTs. There is a solid marketplace here where you're actually seeing transactions from the $10 to $50 to $100 range where you're creating a one of 1,000. And so, the idea being that, if you're a Led Zeppelin fan and Jimmy Page releases a picture of him with, any of their fans from the 1976 concert, and they sell 200 of them for $75 each, right? That's just one example of 10,000 of those transactions that can occur, and that's just one very unique silo. So there's really a giant marketplace out there that's accessible for fans. That's where we're focused. We're not looking at these monster transactions. What we're doing is democratizing the NFT world such that real fans, whether it be of sports teams, athletes themselves, individual leagues, and if you look at the landscape, it's not just like doing it with Cristiano Ronaldo or doing it with Lewis Hamilton, the F1. It's not just only exclusively the top tier. It's going through La Liga, Serie A, English Premiership, the NHL, NBA, NFL, etc. And you have these vast opportunities to create NFTs of moments both past and present.
So an NFT is essentially a limited edition iteration of something digitized.
Yeah, so think about it just like the physical commodity, but it's existing in a digital framework. And so you still own it, you hold it, and you're going to be given through the token. So we're looking at this physical asset being represented as a token. That's kind of like the equity component of it. And you're holding that. You're owning it, and it's logged on the blockchain, and that establishes your ownership component. Now, if you want to go out and have other folks invest in this asset as well, you're able to do that, but you cannot duplicate it. So you're creating a finite amount of a product, and you're selling it into a marketplace. And as much as people want to say that this sounds foolish and this will never work, well, I think people do make that assumption at their own peril.
Tell me about the revenue that you're going to generate or that you are generating from NFTs and your other businesses.
Yeah, so we own 2.5 million in assets in our NFT program right now in our catalog. We anticipate doing a little under 4.5 million in revenue from our NFTs throughout the balance of this fiscal year. As it relates to the aggregate of the revenue that we're forecasting throughout the balance of the year, we're looking to hit somewhere around 7.5 million. Wondr Gaming as an entity, not unlike many other companies in our space, is highly acquisitive. We're constantly in negotiations trying to purchase new assets. Since launching, or going public rather, on May the 7th, we've made 2 acquisitions, one being EGI, which is our NFT platform, and the other being Hot Dot Media, which is an incredible opportunity for us to grow our media side of the business. We now have 150 million active followers across YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Facebook on a monthly basis. This is a huge opportunity for us to work with companies like Reddit and Twitch and be able to bring in a very, very large constituency of folks that are interested in the products that we're creating and are already consumers of media on these platforms. So what that allows us to do is to work with large brands, as I mentioned earlier, like telcos, banks, insurance companies, and these large multinationals that are increasingly interested in accessing the video game community. So, a great example of how we jumped off in the space is on May 15th, we had Chris Boucher from the Toronto Raptors. We did a Canada-wide full-page takeover on Twitch to launch the new Season 3 of the video game Call of Duty with Activision Blizzard. And in examples like that, we use these opportunities to pop in a number of different partnerships with, like I said, banks and telcos and other companies that are interested in the gaming folks that are actually watching this content being created. And we then, subsequently run a number of campaigns where we're bringing those users again and again back to these content campaigns that we're running, such that we're giving increased visibility to the brands that partner with us.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So then what is the total addressable market for your particular business globally?
So statistics continue to demonstrate that over 2 billion people are gaming a day. And the fascinating component of the video game industry is that folks need to stop viewing it in the myopic sense that it's a kid in the basement with a video game controller. We're talking everything from people playing mobile games such as Candy Crush or War of Worlds or any of the other popular multinational games that are played in literally every country on the planet on a daily basis, down to very popular multiplayer games such as Call of Duty and Overwatch, and then to single player games like Fortnite. So we really have this huge audience of folks that's growing on a daily basis. And so what we're in the business of doing is bringing the global gaming audience to large brands and vice versa. But you have to do it in an authentic way. This is a really important kind of criteria of the gaming world, is that it's an incredibly discerning audience. And the viewership is not like conventional sports. You're not putting on ESPN or CBS or TSN or Sportsnet in the Canadian example. Over 95% of the viewership is happening on Twitch, who we work very closely with, which is owned by Amazon. And throughout all of these video experiences, there are chat functions. And so it's not like you and I sitting and watching the Blue Jays game and tweeting out at Blue Jays, what a great hit by, Vladdy Jr. It's people on Twitch through a number of different chat boards with Reddit and Discord and other platforms where they are critiquing brands and the viewing experience in real time. And so the gaming audience can make a company fantastically successful overnight, or in the blink of an eye can make them, on the outside looking in. So when engaging with this audience and bringing brands into the fold, you've got to be very careful about how you're building messaging.
Mm-hmm. All right, John. Well, that's a great introduction to Wondr Gaming again, and we'll follow along with interest. We'll have you back soon. Thanks very much for your time today.
Thank you, James. Always a pleasure.
You bet. Bye for now.